tonight, it's back to school for many students in the GTA.
I'm so excited to go to school.
Okay, we gotta go.
It's that time of the year again, and for the first time since the pandemic began, students are returning to class without COVID restrictions. Plus,
we need action specifically on our most deadly roadways, our suburban arterial roadways.
with kids returning to school, advocates are stressing the importance of safer streets, the changes they want to see as the city gets set to give an update on its Vision Zero plan tomorrow. And
it's a lot of power being drawn, so I'd rather have it come from green sources than from diesel.
with a booming film and television industry, Toronto's plan to help film sets go green in an effort to reduce climate change. Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. It was the first day of school for many students in the GTA. And while kids in Toronto soaked up the last day of summer, those in Peel, Halton and Durham regions headed back to school this morning. And unlike the past couple of years, classes resumed without pandemic restrictions. Ali Chiasson has more.
You know what time it is.
First day of school.
And what does that mean?
I get to meet new friends.
In person, mask optional. It's the first school year in a long time that's reminiscent of pre-pandemic days.
You like being school, right? In
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
Then online? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, school's starting. All right, thank you. Okay, we gotta go.
This year, kids will be reintegrating with one another at school. No cohorts, just classrooms.
I'm feeling very, 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 very excited because my friend from online is coming there.
Today marks the first school year without COVID restrictions since the pandemic began, which means families are choosing what's best for them when it comes to protecting themselves. Some kids will be wearing masks, others won't. Teachers will have to meet students where they are at. That's what Miss Boschnak plans to do with her grade 5s.
Start with a community circle, just maybe make sure that the kids are okay. Some kids, have been wearing masks for the last year. Some kids have been online and now are coming back here. So it's just making sure that they're okay, that they feel safe in my environment, and that they're just happy to be here.
Being in school is one thing. Staying in school will be the real test.
Nothing matters more for the Premier and the government, and it's why we brought forth a plan with more investment, with more staffing, with more learning recovery emphasis, that's designed to keep the kids in a safe space in school from September right to June. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Even though they tend to bicker as they bargain a new collective agreement, both the education minister and the teachers' unions played nice on the first day of school, agreeing on this point.
We want to see the students face to face. We don't want to have disruptions. We provide stability. Education should be viewed as an investment. We're hoping the Ford government will view it the same way.
Speaking of playing nice,
are people being respectful of one another's choice to wear a mask versus not?
Yeah, I feel like nobody really cares if you're wearing a mask or not. It's really just self-choice.
Here's hoping it lasts the entire school year.
So how did it feel going back to school without COVID restrictions?
Honestly, a lot better than the last 2-3 years. It's a lot better, a lot more freedom.
Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Police say a teacher is facing multiple stunt driving charges on this first day back to school. In a tweet this morning, Durham police said their first driving offense of the day went to a teacher driving almost 100 kilometers an hour in a 50 zone. They did not say exactly where it happened. And with students returning to school, Mayor John Tory is set to make an announcement about road safety tomorrow. He's expected to provide an update on the city's Vision Zero plan with a focus on keeping kids safe. Tyler Cheese spoke with road safety advocates about the changes they think are needed.
Toronto's Vision Zero strategy is meant to reduce the number of traffic-related fatalities and serious injuries on city streets to zero. Tomorrow, the city is set to announce an update to the plan, but the mayor gave a preview earlier today.
I think we have to do more of what we have been doing. So, for example, we have put in speed cameras, and speed cameras are not only sanctioning those who speed, and there have been far too many of them, but they've been shown to actually reduce speeds.
The city has also released new data on its 50 automated speed enforcement devices. In June, the devices issued over 24,500 tickets with more than 1,600 repeat offenders. And in July, almost 19,000 more tickets were issued with 890 repeat offenders. All told, more than 43,000 tickets were issued over the months of June and July. The automated devices have been installed in community safety zones, areas where speeding and collisions are more likely to happen, according to city data. The program is designed to work together with other Vision Zero strategies, but road safety advocate Jessica Speaker says those strategies haven't been working.
It's been a failure, and I'm really sad to have to say that. But we need action specifically on our most deadly roadways, our suburban arterial roadways, and doing things that are going to be controversial, like road diets and intersection redesigns. But those are the things that work around the world.
Others agree action needs to be focused on specific locations in the city.
When you look at the maps, there is variation, but a lot of the accidents and collisions are in the inner suburbs. They're on streets that are wider and where people travel at higher speeds. There's a lot of traffic in and around schools, and that's where there are the most vulnerable users, and street users, many of them kids who are, trying to get to their classes.
Tomorrow's announcement is scheduled to take place at 9 a.m. and is expected to focus on school zones.
I'm hoping that we finally get some bold and effective action on road safety.
Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
Police in York Region are asking for the public's help locating a 70-year-old woman who didn't return after leaving her Thornhill home for a walk.
Now we are asking the community for their assistance, if they can check their backyards, if they can check their residential streets, any public area, plazas, parks. Any information at this point is going to help us in locating her.
Police have set up a command post to help in the search for Levine Gordon. Gordon was reported missing around 6 o'clock last night. Her family says they last saw her at 1 p.m. leaving her home in the Mullen Drive and Milner Gate area. Police say Gordon is vulnerable and that her family believes she may be lost and may not ask for directions. She is believed to be wearing a black North Face jacket, black shoes, and a black purse. Toronto police have made an arrest in a double shooting that happened last month. The shooting happened around 3:30 a.m. on August 9th near Lawrence and Weston Road. Police say they found two men outside a social club suffering from gunshot wounds. 27-year-old Gadid Mohammed was pronounced dead at the scene. The other man was transported to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A 31-year-old Yahya Diblawe of Peterborough has been charged with second-degree murder and attempted murder. He appeared in court via video link earlier today. Peel police have ramped up patrols around a nightclub near Eglinton and Dixie Road in Mississauga after a shooting over the long weekend that sent two people to hospital. It is the fifth shooting at this nightclub since January. As Greg Ross tells us, the city is now getting involved.
Police are very concerned about the frequency of gun violence at her nightclub in Mississauga since January.
We've responded to 5 shootings.
The latest shooting happened early Sunday morning. Police responding to a call for shots fired, later finding 2 victims.
The victims were both males in their 20s. One male was treated on scene and released. The second was located to a trauma center.
Police say that man is in critical but stable condition. As for those responsible for the shooting,
currently we have no suspect information to put out. The investigation is still in its infancy.
Other business owners in the plaza where this nightclub is located are very nervous about the situation. In fact, so nervous, none were comfortable talking to us about it on camera. Many did tell us that the shootings have hurt business here. I spoke with one of the owners of the building where her nightclub is located. He didn't want to speak to us on camera, but he did tell me he is working with police and the owners of this business to try and create a safer environment here. That's not all that's being done.
We're working hard with our partners at the Alcohol Gaming Commission, as well as the City of Mississauga and Mississauga bylaw to rectify the situation.
In a statement from the city, a representative told CBC News, our bylaw enforcement officers have increased their compliance checks on this establishment, and we are working closely with Peel Police to address ongoing public safety in and around her nightclub. The city says it is also reviewing other areas of enforcement related to her nightclub. Police say the owner of the business has been cooperating. Greg Ross, CBC News, Mississauga.
Let's go to Dahlia Ashry now with a first look at the weather. And Dahlia, beautiful sunny day as many kids headed back to school.
That's right, Kelda. For those that went back to school earlier today, what a lovely day. And for those heading into school tomorrow, another beautiful day. And they're going to be expecting some more sunshine. Raincoats will not be needed, and some lovely ideal recess conditions, which is what every kid, I think, likes to hear and see. The daytime highs in Toronto, 24 degrees. Windsor, 25. The cool spot in the region, Hamilton and Ottawa and Kingston, 22 degrees and 21 degrees for most of those regions. Toronto, clear night tonight, and then what to expect over tomorrow. I mean, tonight we might see some of those clouds peeking through. It'll start to clear up as you head to school tomorrow, and as the parents drop off the kids to school as well. A little bit of clouds in sight, but for the most part, a sunny afternoon, and that will carry on until Thursday as well, and for the rest of the coming days. Overnight, it'll be 15 degrees, some clouds in sight, and then tomorrow, another beautiful sunny day, a mix of sun and clouds. Pull out your sunglasses because you'll need them. It'll be 25 degrees, and then whether or not it'll stay sunny for the next few days, we'll have more on that later. Kelda?
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Dahlia. The City of Toronto is trying to add some green to its red-hot film industry. New infrastructure was unveiled today at the Ashbridges Bay parking lot that's meant to encourage environmentally conscious film crews to choose Toronto by helping them reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Chris Garlover has more.
This is our home. Toronto was home for filming the Apple Plus TV show C, one of countless blockbuster productions to shoot in the city. How many did you?
15 at least. 15 cast trailers at least, up to 20 some days.
John Rakic was in charge of finding space for the 20-odd production trailers. The location scout says Ontario Place's parking lot was packed for months, each one guzzling diesel from generators. Today, the city unveiled the newest player in Toronto's film industry, 2 power kiosks, so film crews can hook up to Toronto's energy grid and ditch the diesel. I'm curious how useful these will actually be, because I've never seen a film crew here at Ashbridges.
So this isn't just for the film crew. A lot of this will take the diesel requirements for Vista, for our base camps. Like usually we use parking lots for this to support, it may not be this park, it could be somewhere down the way.
It's a direct appeal for major production companies like Netflix, with stated mandates to go green.
If the client is asking for it, it's good to get it in there as soon as you can so that it is that competitive advantage when they're comparing Toronto to Vancouver to Montreal.
These are the types of projects that do, in fact, help us to attract new productions.
Mayor John Tory says it'll help Toronto meet its target to reduce carbon emissions to net zero by 2040.
This might seem like a small example, and in some respects it is, compared, for example, to the hundreds of millions of dollars we're spending buying electric buses. These are all things that will contribute to the achievement of this long-range environmental goal.
The city says the power drops can reduce 400 tons of greenhouse gas emissions per year.
What I look at is this a big source of carbon emissions? In this case, it looks like it is. Diesel generators create a lot of pollution.
The first plug-in is at the Ashbridges Bay parking lot. The second is going near Sunnyside Beach. Public spaces, so local events using things like food trucks can hook up too. Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
Welcome back. Some developments tonight in the search for Miles Sanderson in Saskatchewan. Regina's police chief says the suspect in Sunday's stabbing rampage may no longer be in that city.
Today, we've received information that is leading us to believe he may no longer be in this community. As a result, investigations continue, and although we don't know his whereabouts, we are still looking not only within the city of Regina, but expanded into the province as well.
Earlier today, the RCMP deployed officers on the James Smith Cree Nation following reports that Sanderson had been sighted there, but he was not found. A total of 11 people were killed in the stabbing spree, including Sanderson's brother, Damien, who was also a suspect in the attacks. 10 people remain in hospital. Meanwhile, in Toronto, flags are at half-mast across the city today. Mayor John Tory said City Hall, Metro Hall, and 4 other civic centres would lower their flags in memory of those killed in Saskatchewan. Brampton also flew flags at half-mast at its city's facilities. And now to a bizarre legal dispute that is playing out in Richmond Hill involving a grieving family, the Bereavement Authority of Ontario, and a cemetery owner. A CBC Toronto first reported on this story back in February when the Soutsos family says members of an Orthodox church were refusing to let them bury their loved one in a family plot that they own. More than 7 months and a court order later, Louis Soutso still has not been laid to rest. Angelina King has the latest.
This is where the Soutsos family is supposed to lay their loved ones to rest. They bought a plot at Headford Cemetery 6 years ago. 2 family members have already been buried there. Lisa Soutsos' father, Louis, was supposed to be interred there as well after he passed in January, but the family hasn't been able to fulfill his wishes.
I have not started to grieve at all over this because I'm grieving over the wrong thing right now.
That thing, she says, is a fight with the landowner, which took over the cemetery in 2020. Soutsos and the Bereavement Authority of Ontario say representatives from the Nativity of the Mother of God Orthodox Church have been blocking the family from burying Louis. Meanwhile, his body is decomposing.
We don't know the reason why they're doing this. It's unprecedented and downright cruel.
Last month, a judge ordered Louis be buried at the cemetery by August 31st. But Soutsos and the BAO say representatives from the church and the landowner are making that impossible, including by not providing required documents to the funeral home and not allowing a religious ceremony.
It's just so frustrating and rude and obnoxious and painful that I do crash and I weep.
The church is adamant it's not involved, saying the dispute is between the landowner on the one side and the BAO with family on the other. The church isn't named in the court order. The landowner, an entity called September 21 Inc., is. But much of the correspondence about the burial comes from church representatives, including a reverend who told Soutsos' lawyer he's legally representing the landowner. The church also said the family does not have required documents to confirm their rights to the plot, but Soutsos says she's provided everything needed and the BAO is firm that the family has the rights.
I've never heard of anything like this.
Litigation lawyer David Thompson isn't involved in the dispute, but says breaking a court order could lead to a fine, jail time, or both.
We cannot have callous disregard for court orders.
Despite the recent court order, the company that owns the cemetery has launched a legal challenge, claiming the BAO misrepresented burial rules. That could take months and add even more uncertainty.
If I do manage to bury him there, between now and the next court date, if the province, the BAO, loses, then I will have to exhume him and my grandfather and find different plots for them.
A daughter in limbo trying to honor her late father.
You have to honor the dead. To me, it's very important.
Angelina King, CBC News, Richmond Hill.
Members of the provincial NDP want the Ford government to double social assistance rates. 5 MPPs say for the next 2 weeks, they'll only eat what they can buy for about $50 a week. That's the amount the NDP says the Ontario Disability Support Program has allocated for food.
For 2 weeks starting today, the 5 of us are going to take on a social assistance diet. We'll each approximate a 2-week grocery budget for someone living on social assistance. So that's $95.21 for the 2 weeks, or $47.60 per week.
The MPPs say given how much inflation is impacting the cost of groceries, social assistance payments simply aren't enough. They plan to document their so-called social assistance diet on social media. During question period today, Premier Ford defended his government's record, pointing to the recent 5% or $58 a month increase to ODSP. And you are looking at a live shot of the Toronto skyline. Partly cloudy this evening after a gorgeous sunny day. Currently, it is about 20 degrees downtown. Let's go back to Dahlia now with a look at your long-range forecast. And Dahlia, the next few days looking pretty good.
That's right, Kelda. I mean, the parents and the kids probably didn't need their umbrellas today or their raincoats, and you probably won't need it over the next few days either. Sunny days for those that went back to school earlier today, and for those having their first day of school tomorrow, good luck. It's going to be nice and sunny, and you'll probably have a great recess as well. 24 degrees for the daytime highs in Toronto. Windsor 25. Kingston is a cool spot in the region along with St. Catharines. at 21 degrees. A little bit cooler in those regions, and we'll explain why in a bit. Let's take a look at whether or not it will rain tonight. And the answer to that is no, but there will be some clouds in sight. And as you head to work and dropping off those kids to school tomorrow, you might see some clouds in sight as well. But that will start to clear up and the lovely sunshine will start to peek through, especially around recess time and as you're heading back home. And those conditions will pretty much last until Thursday and Friday. But as we head into Saturday, that's when things will change a little bit. But let's talk about tonight's temperatures. It will cool down to 15 degrees. Tomorrow will be another lovely day. It'll be 25 degrees. It makes the sun and clouds. And then tonight, back to those cooler temperatures, 15 degrees. Hamilton and St. Catharines in the Niagara region is really where some precipitation might be expected overnight. But for the most part, the Golden Horseshoe, there's some clouds in sight and clear nights in Ottawa and Oshawa at 13 degrees. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like I said, and Saturday, all dry conditions sitting in the mid to high 20s, which is what the kids would love, especially as they're heading off to school and their first week at school. And then on Sunday, that's when we get a little bit of rain coming in, 24 degrees, 40% chance of rain. So you might need your umbrella for Sunday, but as you head back to school even next week, well, that's when we'll see what Mother Nature has in store for us next. Kelda?
Canadian superstar Justin Bieber is suspending his world tour. Bieber put out a statement today saying he is taking a break to deal with his health. In a statement, he writes that after a concert in Brazil this weekend, quote, "The exhaustion overtook me and I realized that I need to make my health the priority right now." There were still 70 shows left in Bieber's tour, which was scheduled to run until next March. Meanwhile, some good news for fans of The Weeknd. The singer says he will be able to perform for fans in Toronto on September 23rd. There was some uncertainty about the show after The Weeknd lost his voice while performing in LA on Saturday, forcing him to walk off after only a few songs. The singer said on Twitter today, "Doctor says my voice is safe and with rest, I'll be solid and able to bring the show my Toronto fans are waiting for." And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Have a great night, everyone.